Hi, my name is Ian, and I'm a junior at the USC majoring in public relations. And today I will be interviewing Dave Foreman. Dave is the owner and operator of David J. Foreman General Contractors. Dave is also a member of the NAHB, or the National Association of Home Builders. The NAHB Student Chapters is a program dedicated to enriching the educational experiences of construction students by providing them with NAHB membership, access to educational programming, networking opportunities, and firsthand exposure to the building industry. So Dave, let's jump right into it. Give us a brief introduction of who you are, and then tell us what initially drew you to this career path.
Brief introduction. My name is Dave Foreman. I operate David J. Foreman General Contractors. We do additions, remodels, new construction, everything residential, custom, in-home design. That's what we do. We really love to do it. What drew me to this career was actually kind of an accident. I was in school studying accounting at a standard state school, IUP they call it. And I started working for a custom home builder over the summers just to make money. And I really was infatuated in the design process and seeing things start from the ground up. And throughout that first summer, I really learned that there is intelligence in building. Whenever I was in high school, I shied away from it because of the stigma, and it's just not there. It's a great trade.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So kind of talking a little bit about how you got into it. Once you figured out exactly that's what you wanted to do, kind of how did you go about learning more about it? Were there any high school courses or college courses that you found to be helpful in that journey? Or were there any kind of courses that you wish you had taken going into this career path?
So kind of answering in reverse of how you asked me those questions, in high school, like I said, I wasn't really interested in building. But there was one class that I use every day, just geometry. When we build structures, no matter how complex or simple they may look, they all boil down to a couple of numbers, 180 degrees, 90 degrees, and just basic geometry. So being able to understand that, you can build a house. So what I did to further educate myself when I knew I wanted to do this, I ended up attending Pennsylvania College of Technology in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and joining NAHB student chapters and furthering my education through their hands-on schooling as well as their in-classroom schooling.
Pretty good. So you mentioned geometry. Would you say how important would be soft skills and kind of hard skills when it comes to being a contractor?
So soft skills, especially in the residential world, you need to be able to assure someone that you know what you're doing and comfort them. Because for the working citizen or any family, really, the single largest investment they will make is their home. So they're putting all their money into this and they're trusting you. So you need to understand that, and you need to take time out of your day and assure them that we are doing the right thing. We are doing what your vision is. And we need to be able to communicate, well, like you say, the hard skills. I assume you're talking about the technical skills. I can communicate to a homeowner, how I'm calculating the heel height on my rafter cuts. They don't understand what that means. I need to be able to translate my technical knowledge into basic terms for them to be able to understand. Just like if you're in a doctor's office and he uses a big word, I don't know what that means. I might know shoulders, elbows, knees. So I need to be able to bridge that gap and make sure they know what's going on. And now we have computer programs, Chief Architect, Soft Plan, where we can do digital walkthroughs and help them. But still, that day-to-day process of being in someone's home, you need to be able to bridge that gap and work with them and talk to them.
And so earlier in your introduction, you mentioned that you're the owner of your practice, right? I'm pretty sure you didn't wake up and then you just got to where you are today, right? You probably did some internships or apprenticeships. Can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of the core lessons that you learned throughout your career to get to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, whenever I first got into this kind of by accident, I was working for a custom home builder, and I would tell them, I'd say, hey, I'm really interested in this. I want to learn how to do the things that you do. Can you explain this to me? Can you explain that to me? And I would ask questions. I'd feel like an idiot all the time. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Who do you call for this? Who do you call for that? So you just progress and think about how you're going to get to the next step. Well, sometimes you need to lean on people who have been doing it for longer than you've been alive. Mm-hmm. Right. So and still to this day, I call him with questions when I run into something, and like, we're in the business of providing solutions, really. And especially whenever you get into remodeling, you open a wall up and there's a problem. So we need to provide a solution. And at the same time, going back to what we said, being around homeowners, my father told me growing up, you need to kind of be like a duck, be calm on the surface, but sometimes you have to fight like hell underneath to get to where you're going. But you need to stay calm and cool. And sometimes that means you lean on people that you trust. And that may be industry professionals that you've learned from in the past.
When it comes to kind of people that are becoming interns, because a lot of our audiences are high school students or college students hoping to get into these types of fields, right? What advice would you give to these interns as they kind of approach their internships or their apprenticeships? Like, how would you say, like, you mentioned one, to ask all the questions. Do you have any more kind of negative advice that you'd be willing to give them?
Any what?
Advice that you'd give them?
On how to get into an internship or what to do from that point on?
I think both are pretty helpful to any student. You could elaborate on both.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, just be vocal. It can be intimidating. It can be scary to ask a question or to get out there. But if you look at the trades across the board, they are hurting for people. They're absolutely hurting for people. The school I graduated from, they just had a new degree. It's called concrete science degree. It's a 2-year associate's degree. Students are coming out making $80,000 with a 2-year degree. Yeah, it's impressive. But it's the only reason it's there is these companies are so backed up. They're so backed up, and they can't find any good, hardworking labor. So if you are a hard worker and you have drive, just reach out to someone and you can say, look, I don't know anything about anything, but I'm interested. Can you bring me on? Can you teach me? Seek the guidance. And when they guide you, listen and be attentive. Be there, be present. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think oftentimes people kind of disregard how important it is to have that enthusiasm and kind of passion. I think if you don't have any experience, but you can show that you're someone that is teachable and someone that is like very hardworking, then anyone is willing to kind of take you on and say like, yeah, let's roll up our sleeves and get to work, right? I feel like for me personally, it's like in my experience, the reason why I was able to get my first internship was because I was like, I absolutely don't know anything. But let me tell you, I will be in every meeting. I will write down every single notes and I will be there to shadow you and like make sure that I get the work done. And I think all my bosses have really appreciated that. On to our next question, kind of shifting gears a little bit. How did you engage with NAHB as a student and how do you engage with them now as a new professional?
So I joined the association as a student just because it's kind of what everyone else did. And I didn't think much of it at the time, to be honest, but the association is amazing. It is an endless resource. It's an endless network. There's so many people you can reach out to and reflect on. I mean, NAHB, that's the reason you and I are having a conversation right now. When I was a student, NAHB provided me the opportunity with a few other classmates to go down to the International Builder Show in Las Vegas and do a student competition there. And then I got to go through the expo and learn about new things in the industry, and it's absolutely amazing. NAHB is a great organization. And now professionally, so I belong to obviously the local one over here in Pennsylvania, and there I've met some people in specialty trades where I can further develop my network and lean on them professionally to help me get to where I want to be. And they all say the same thing when they meet me is, they see a young person who's trying to do what they've done, and they say, you know, come to me, ask me questions. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. We're so happy to see a young person in the trade. We can't get anyone to work. You know, we're just thrilled to see some people in the younger generation doing what we did. You know, these guys, they genuinely love what they do, and they want to see younger people come in. So they are so eager to reach out and help.
I think also, can you elaborate a little bit on like what you think the importance of networking and kind of fostering these relationships, right? I think it's one thing to kind of know exactly how to build something or know all the technical skills behind it, but how important is building relationships with other people within your same trade as you move forward in your career?
Oh boy, I mean, building relationships in all walks of life is important.
Mm-hmm.
No one person knows everything,
Yeah.
and no one person can handle everything, especially on large projects. So you, as a contractor, you have to build relationships with homeowners, with the community, with subcontractors, with employees or potential employees. And obviously everyone's in the business to make money,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be able to manage people and manage expectations. So if you don't have the proper network and you don't stay in contact with those people and you don't know each other well, you're not going to be able to perform business with each other very well. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think so. You know, when
Yeah.
you want to do something, you call someone you know, you call someone you trust, and that's what networking is. It's meeting people, getting to know them, sharing your life experiences, whether it's personal or professional, and just holding on to those relationships. And you reach out to them when you need them, and they reach out to you when they need you. That's
Yeah.
what networking is, and it helps you as a professional.
Yeah, I think also a huge part of kind of networking, from my experience, is the idea that it's really about building relationships. It's about making friends, right? I think a lot of students have a misconception of networking is all about taking, right? You meet people at these networking conferences and you're like, oh, like, when can you give me an internship? And it's like, nah, not really. Like, that's not how it works out here, you know? You
Exactly.
need to develop a relationship before you can even, like, you try to give as much as you get, right? But the first step is giving. And I think that's something like a distinguishable kind of thing that people need to have in order for them to succeed in a career. Going a little bit more specific, can you describe your typical workday and why and what that entails?
Wow, typical workday. For me,
Yeah.
I don't really have one. You know, because we work on all sorts of projects, right?
Hmm.
Some small, some relative terms, large.
Yeah.
So I'd say 70 to 80% of my day is spent in the field, hands-on, and the other 20 to 30%, like I said before, managing people and expectations, meeting with homeowners, meeting with sales reps, going over design, making sure all of my numbers are in line, getting my orders together, making
Hmm.
sure the orders are delivered and they're on time and at the right place. So if I have someone in the field, I can keep the ball rolling on my jobs, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes it's tough because you want to spend your working hours in field getting progress, but at the same time, banks, suppliers,
Yeah.
attorneys, they're only open certain hours. So you need to be able to fluctuate your schedule so you keep progress going in field, but also on paper.
Hmm.
And you know, I'm not perfect. You know, I'm still working on trying to get that down and get that right.
Hmm.
But whenever I was working for my old boss as a carpenter, you know, we would come in and it was just go, go, go. From start to finish, we worked hard, but it was very rewarding because you get a sense of purpose when you're building someone a house that they're going to spend their life in and raise their kids and make memories. You really build that house with pride. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to see them come in and be like, oh, wow, look at this. And, you know, you see a smile on their face. That's very rewarding.
Yeah, that does sound very rewarding. Would you say that's kind of your favorite aspect of it, or what's your favorite aspect of your whole job?
Favorite aspect of the whole job? Probably
The
for me,
fun.
it's getting better. It's doing something and being proud of it, and then
Hmm.
taking a step back and say, okay, what can we do better? How can we make it better?
Yeah.
Because the better you are, the happier the homeowner is going to be. And it's, yes, Actually, no, that probably is one of my favorite things. Seeing the
Yeah,
smile
because
on their face
I
and
mean, yeah, the way that you described it, I was like, oh my God, like this is so cool. Like the idea that, I mean, I didn't really see it that way, you know? I think also what's really cool is when you look at different majors, they really view the world differently, right? If you look at people studying biology, they kind of look at the world through um, life and biology and like science and all that stuff. But the way that you described it, it's like you're really building the world that people live in. And the idea that if you can do really well in your craft, they're going to be living in there for like 15 plus years, right? And
oh yeah,
so that's so cool, right? I don't know. First time I thought about that, but it's very interesting. Um, okay, cool.
yeah.
The next question is, what is one aspect of your career that people would not expect?
One aspect people would not expect. Uh, I think people view our trade as very labor intensive. Don't get me wrong. There's days where it's demanding physically,
Mhm.
but it's not every day. You know, there's a lot more time spent calculating, and like I said, it's a lot of mathematics and doing your layout and making sure things are in line. I think people expect to come into the trades and see a rough looking person, you know, smoking a cigarette and carrying heavy things around. That's not the case, you
Yeah,
know. So you can actually expect to have a good fun day and not have to beat your body up. You know,
yeah,
I know guys that have been doing it for a long time that are in great health. You know, some of them are runners, some of them are hikers. They're in better health than some of the people that are sitting around in offices for 30 years. You know, they're
hmm,
active, and it's really good that way, I think.
yeah. Wow. Okay. And lastly, to kind of close this off, what are some words of wisdom that you would have for someone considering this occupation?
Someone's considering this occupation, I think you need to get out there and get your hands dirty before you
Hmm.
make sure you actually go through and do it. The reason I say that, you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're never going to be happy. No amount of money is going to make you happy unless you love what you do. So I would encourage you to reach out to a contractor, reach out to a home builder, and just tell them you want to shadow them. And
Yeah.
if they see your drive and your passion or potential passion, no doubt in my mind they'll hire you because no one can get anyone good.
Hmm.
So just reach out, get your feet wet, and try it out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's wonderful advice. I think that goes a lot for any other industry too, where it's like if you really want to figure out if you want to be an accountant, do accounting, right? Or if you want to be in marketing, do marketing. Because I remember when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be an accountant. I thought I wanted my own practice, and then I took my first accounting class, and I was like, why? What am I doing? Like, why am I here? So definitely, great advice. Do put your hands or do put your hands in the bucket and kind of get your hands dirty that way. But Dave, I just want to say thank you again for giving your time to help students who were previously in your position and for being willing to kind of have this interview with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free. Thank you. And feel free to share my information with anyone that would like to talk or have any questions. I'd be happy to help them out in any way I can.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us. And I hope you learn more about NAHB. For more information, please visit the NAHB Q Careers page and find out how NAHB can help you with your career development. Until next time, have a great week. Goodbye.